My photo is too big here. Okay, hello everybody. I'm Ido, one of the founders of Facetrom. And we will speak a little bit about fraud and what is the next step to avoid fraud in different ways. The question is, what will be in the next step for fraud risk assessment and fraud prevention? And to do that, we need to return a little bit back. In the beginning, when we had some commercial thing between us, it was a barter. I had a meat, you had a fish, and we will return or barter each other. We didn't need trust. Then the civilization a little bit get bigger, and also the complication of people. The first aviation, that it's of course fraud, documented 2000 BCE in China. When they had documents, they said you need to return this amount of money, or this is the taxation that you need to pay. Since then, we started to see a lot of untrust between people or companies and to do a fraud. And the problem of risk assessment become a really big issue. To do a fraud, we need to have a triangle. We need the need of the person. The person need to have money, want to buy something, need a medical treatment. The second step is the opportunity. Today, the opportunity given by the banks, by the lending platforms, by the digital banks. And the third leg is about the character of the person. Actually, this is the missing link about the fraud today. Because the institutes know to look on your history, on your salaries, and to have some idea what will be. But the character become a big issue. So, somebody know these two gentlemen? In 1956, from Stanford, two people graduated, one Bill Fair, and the second one is Earl Isaac. They were the first one that's actually built an algorithm, modern algorithm, to estimate risk of a person. And the way that they did it, they calculate several parameters to understand the person behavior. There are some of credit history that you already know, but they try to formalize that. And when we look on the stack of FICO, this is the name of the company that they built, we can see they did the IPO, and from around 2015, the stock started to rise up. The peak, it's in the last 2 years. We see that in the last 2 years, the amount of fraud, it's get a really big issue. If I want you to remember one slide from the presentation, is this slide. This slide, what you can see here is what the institutes actually rely to do a risk assessment. And because of the history, from FICO and from the other banks, they actually do it by group discrimination, by the age of the person, by the zip code of the person, where he lives, the background education. And there is not, it's kind of an egg and a chicken problem. How the people without credit history actually can move on. So today, around 1.4 billion people in the world don't really have credit history, adults, okay? It's more than 2 billion people in the world, but not all of them can get services because they are young or too old. So 1.4 actually adults that can get services by the parameters, but cannot actually get services. If we look on the world, in emerging countries, Latin America a little bit less, but Latin America, India, Southeast Asia, around 70% of the population not really have credit history. And that one will be rejected automatically from the institutes. From the 30% that have credit history, only 10% will be approved customers. So if you do the math, around 5% of the population actually get services. And this is a huge problem. It's a huge problem for, of course, for the person, but also for their family, if they need a medical treatment, for the neighborhood, city, country, GDP, you can go on. The two major, number one and number two in the world for fraud, first one is Mexico, your neighbor from north, and Brazil. But this is not past the places, and it's all around. In Mexico, around 20% of, approximately 20% of the new customers in digital actually will be a defaulter. This is how the world look like. Most of us, lucky us, we are here. But this part cannot get nothing. So now, from now, I want you, it will be a little bit challenge, but to put your head in this direction. Think what the problems that they have and how we can solve that. And to examine the problem, I want to show you example of a problem when we do risk assessment based on our own opinion, okay? The subjective opinion, impression. Two people, they did the same crime, okay? This is took from a documentary movie. And I want to ask you, and participant please, if you think only because the look one of them get, the punishment will be or was bigger and the other one less, okay? So who think the left one get more in the punishment? So all of us agree. You want to guess how much more? 5 years difference. The same crime. Let's look on girls, females. It's reading in Hebrew. Okay, they killed the baby. Do you think one of them get more? How much more? 15 years. 15 years of her life get to jail more, or the punishment was too hard, or the punishment here was too light. I don't know from which side. So we can see there is a problem when we look on a subjective opinion. Each one of us have opinion, but it's not based on objective parameters. So we need to see how we can objective things to make people actually get to the services and get opportunity. Today, when institutes want to do risk assessment, alternative risk assessment, okay, not the credit history, for the 70% of the population that they want them to be served, 3 major technologies exist. Questionnaires, smartphone detection, and users' behavior. Each one of them have a problem. Questionnaires, not 50% not fill the form, 80% not say the truth. Smartphone detection, you need thousands of indicators and the privacy. They can read your WhatsApp, your SMS, where you visited, the last website that you visited. User behavior, they do the scan of how you touch the screen, how hard and things like that. All of that need the user activeness. The user need to do something. So what we did, we wanted to look a little bit different on the problem. We understood that 70% cannot get any services. 80% or 90% of the one that potentially can get services are actually been rejected. And we don't want any private information about the user. So what we found, that's actually our face have a lot of indicators that we can understand. Our biology designed the way that we look. Each one of us look different because of our biology. There are males and females in the same room here. Males, we have 15 times more testosterone by default. This is why we are males. and also the way that we look. What we discovered, that our behavior also depends on our biology. So if you know how to read biology, you know how to predict behavior. Be with me, bear with me in that. So today what we are doing, we extract only parameters from the selfie. The selfie belong to the institutes, okay? We don't really have even the image. We take only vectors, we extract. And from that, we use a lot of technologies to predict the risk assessment of the user. It took us, and it takes us, less than 3 seconds. We give APIs, they send us the image, we send back the score. Zero friction with the user. Okay, we don't want to touch the user, we don't have interface. We are a B2B company, really deep tech. It took us 7 years only to do a research. So we don't have UI, front-end. Everything is in the backend. And of course, robustic. The product, I will show you several case studies after you understood what we are doing and the problem. I will show you, and you will understand even better what I mean. Input of the image without any personal information, not the name, not the social number, phone number, social profile. Then we look if this is a genuine image. We scan the data, and then we do the risk assessment. I want to show you something here in the component that we found during our work with companies. This is example from India. You cannot see because I blurred for the privacy, of course, but you can understand. Here is the same person. When we look on the history, we found this person in different IDs, 3 different IDs. The company think this person actually have 3 identities. And when we look on the data, we found him 40 times with different identities, with all the face recognition and tools that the companies have. He asked more than $12,000. Another example, the same person, different account IDs. Here, when he do a registration, he defined himself as a female. We found him 245 times. He asked for $60,000 in total, in general. So what we are doing, before even do the risk assessment, we need to do a fraud prevention to understand the problem. So the technology, think about computer vision tools, horizontal, and other algorithms, vertical. Okay, here we have more than 15 different set of algorithms. Here we can see the same person. This person we found in 4 different account IDs. And when we look on this account ID, that you cannot see here, but there is a number here, we found him and another person. And when we look on this person, we found him 11 times in the data. And then we scan all of that and find discrepancies. Usually, we found more than 20, this is average, but 20% discrepancies in the data, even before we go to do the risk assessment. Now let's look on the risk assessment. I will show you a short clip how it works in the backend, okay? Can you play it? Yes, thank you. We give API, we are a SaaS company. It's a software as a service. Through the API, that it's a line of code, we take the image. From the image, we extract more than 2,000 biological indicators. Then each feature indicator got to a column, and we start to calculate all the columns with 10,000 of equations. And in the end, we give the score, or for a batch, 100,000 images, or for personal. Depend on the company and how they want to work. What we did, it's a game changer. Why? Today, in average, in the companies for unsecured loan, up to $1,000, usually 90 days loan, 120. The default rate is 4%. These 4% actually make 50% loss from their revenue. It's a huge, think about it. 4% make 50% lost. Why? Because each dollar that you give to somebody that's not paid back to you, it costs you between 2.5 to 4 times more, depending on the company. Collection, lawyers, physical visit, etc. Every dollar that's company pay to us to do the risk assessment, we actually bring 30 times more dollars. This is the equation. Fraud prevention, it's $1. It's not $1 that we got, okay? It's only for the example. $1 divided the number of fraud divided the pricing that we take, make 30 times more. And I want to finish with a clip here. This clip, I want to get back to the beginning of the problem of people without credit history. The ones that's today only 5% of the population in emerging countries actually will get the loan or will get services. Think about it, it's a huge number. I want to show why we think, probably you agree with me, but I have my opinion here, why it's really important to serve people that's up to now cannot be served. Let's see that. Okay.
Think of a world without light. Think of a world without antibiotics. Think of a world without computers. Humanity should thank the ones who innovate and never give up when they didn't have anything and people laugh at them. Our world became so amazing because of the ones who thought different. The ones who weren't afraid to follow their dreams no matter what. Walt Disney was fired as a young man from his newspaper job for a lack of good ideas. Benjamin Franklin's family couldn't afford to finance his education after his 10th birthday, but that didn't stop him. People's success is about their motivations, their ideas, and their willingness to make the world a better place. Today, most people's dreams depend on resources to take their first steps into success. Unfortunately, 3 billion people in the world will not even get 1 cent to try to accomplish their dreams. Do not accept it. To make the world a better place, people should try to challenge the way of thinking. To find a cure to the most killing diseases, people must try their ideas. If we want a future breakthrough, we can't give up on anyone who wants to try. Facetrom, never give up on anyone.
So today we increased the number of new customers in around 4.5 times more. And this is give opportunity to the ones that's up to now want to find a cure and cannot. Or any other issue, go to study. So thank you very much for your listening. And if you have questions, please. And here are my details. Any question?
Thank you, Ido, for your presentation. Very nice. I have a question. What happens if someone has bad credit because he had some trouble maybe member of his family got sick, or maybe he lost his job. So even your system can detect that. So if he has a bad credit score, he still is able to get more credit in the future.
So it's a very good question. Fraud divided to three parts: fraud identity, intentional fraud, and partial payments. For the fraud identity and intentional fraud, probably we will catch that. For the ones partial payments, so for example, somebody that's lost his work or something like that, we can detect some of that, not all of that, because there is gray area that we not sure this person is good, is okay, but he lost his job, for example. So some of them we will detect, and some of them not. We will tell you which one we think that's probably have a problem. But we have the gray area, of course, like every technology in that one.
Ido, great presentation. I just wondering if you can make this technology in a live video call, because we have a lot of accounts, late account payables, or we try to charge people for the debt that they have. But do you have this on a live version that we can predict if he's telling the truth, that people are going to pay on this date or next month or that? Can you do that technology live on video streaming or something like that? Or just by a fake photo? On a live video call, like if you were WhatsApp in a video call, can you do the analytics if he's gonna pay on the next month or that? Is he lying or not?
So first, of course, everything is live. Live. You give me and I give the prediction. I'm not sure that I will predict. What I want to say, that's what we predicted, it's up to 24 months usually, because our face is changing during the life. So I will not detect or predict now for your lifetime. But yes, if it's 60 days, 90 days, 120 days, and you want to give loan, this is something that I will predict. But if you ask me or request me now to predict somebody for his mortgage, I will tell you I'm not sure that I will do that. I can tell you what will be in the next year, next 2 years, not in the next 20 years. Yes.
Okay, I have a question. How much time does the model takes to learn new faces depending of regions? I expect that, for example, here in Guatemala, it's a different type of biometrics than other countries, and we are interested.
Yeah, so first, all of us have the same biology, okay? It's never mind if you're from Guatemala or from the state or from China. We're based on the same system. Yes, we need to see that it's fit to each place, not because of the culture, because of design, the way that we look. So today we have 2,000 parameters. There is not one parameter that's influenced the model in more than 1%. So when you calculate it, the Chinese and the Hispanic and the Caucasian is the same because we do the normalization. And still, when we get in to a new place, when we work with the company as a design partner, in the beginning we look that everything is okay. We have the prediction. If we need it, we optimize it. To optimize it, we have the infrastructure. So it takes us less than 1 week to do that. And then move on. We still have time?
Hi, Ido. So my question was around what other sources of data points are you looking for after the phase, such as taking into account like someone stating what they're going to be using the money for, everything from the way, kind of like speech recognition, but also having into account sentiment analysis and other factors. Because it already seems impressive with what you can do here, but kind of like what are other things that you're looking into adding so that it can be I don't know if more accurate, but maybe more accessible to other factors that might not be taken into account just biologically?
So today we look only on the computer vision face recognition or face analysis, not recognition, because the biology reflects on our looks very well. Okay, the hormones in the immune system, we detect it very, very good. Yes, of course, and this is the sense of sight. It's our primarily sense. It's the most important sense in human. Okay, more than 93% of your decisions actually depend on the sense of sight. So our model is based on that. Of course, every biological or bio factor can add to the model, like voice you said. I can think another 10 that's optionally, but in the end, we need also to apply to the institutes. The institutes want zero friction with the user and to do it as fast as possible. When you do a voice, you need at least 20 seconds that somebody will say something, and then the interaction become a problem. This is why questionnaires cannot also be a good for a long-term solution. So we found that the face make the most sense for us. But of course, if a company have more than that, we can combine that and the models will get probably upper. I don't know how much. You know, there is the Pareto. I don't know if another biological features will make 1% approval or 10% approval. Thank you very much.